When men don't take care of their child, it's always on the mom. And then y'all go to the court talking about, oh, you want to put me on child support because you ain't take care of your child. What the else am I going to do? You over here tripping over a couple hundred a month? You don't even see your child. That's the least you can do. You ain't going to no graduations, no birthday parties, no nothing. But you complaining about a couple $100s a month because you ain't there. That's the least you could do. Do y'all not know that having a child is expensive? You got to pay for formula, daycare, all this shit my mom was doing by herself because you wasn't there. And then you get on the internet and you lie out your teeth. And this is the shit that pisses me off because y'all get on here and y'all validate a piece of. All of this is lies. All of this is lies. He's doing this to protect his image. He's doing this to protect his image. And y'all can get on here and say whatever the y'all want about me or whoever I'm related to. I don't give a flying. I don't give a. Because I promise y'all, the same that type on the keyboard and get on the internet, if they was to see me in person, none of them would step to me. And I put that on my mom. None of them would step to me. Y'all get on this internet and y'all so big bad wolf. But off this internet shit in person, y'all would never step to me. And that's why I don't give a. Because y'all in real life. Y'all. And I'm talking about the keyboard warriors. I'm not talking about the supporters of shit. I'm talking about the keyboard warriors. That's who I'm talking about. That's who I'm talking about. Why the would I have to get on the internet and lie? You mad because I outed you? Because you ignored me after I asked you about my sister. Now you on Instagram Live mad talking about, oh, I was there for all the baby appointments. I don't give a. Do you want a cookie, bitch? You supposed to be there for the appointments. That's the least you could have did because you definitely wasn't there in my life. You wasn't there. Oh, I went to all the appointments. I bought all the baby clothes. So you going to get on here and lie? My mom at the time, the job that she was working at, they threw a party for her and they bought her all the that my mom needed. The people at my mom's job loved her down. They bought all the that she needed for me when I was a baby.
Hey, my brothers, back again, and I don't know if this is going to be just a talk or a rant or ramble, so we'll get to it. I've been fuzzing on this one for a few days, exactly how to put it. Thought popped up in my head, and I think it was Angry Black Man. I think that was his handle, and he was talking about what we needed to do to actually fix the black community, and I've heard it before, and I'm not about him because his heart is in the right place. He said what we need to do to fix the black community is go back to what our grandfather and our grandmother did back in the day, which didn't work all that well either. It helped us survive under circumstances, but the thing is, as soon as grandma got her independence, she jetted because she never really wanted to be with grandpa because she saw grandpa is pulling her down. She really wanted to be on equal footing with Mr. and Mrs. Cartwright. That's since the 1850s. Go back and look at Sojourner Truth. It was not Sojourner Truth. What was her name? It might be Sojourner Truth. Okay. Who it might be. I think it's Ain't I a Woman. That's what she pushed back in the 1840s, 1850s, along with the suffragettes. But the thing is that I have felt, and this is how I felt, after many, many decades of looking at this problem and seeing how this thing is put together, that we call the black community, or what we call the black community. What I'm saying is, I don't think it can be saved, and even if it could, the way it has limped along for the past 2 centuries, I don't think it should be saved, especially if you're a black man. The black community, for the most part, has never really worked for you. Basically, the black community has only survived with your sacrifice. You've either been disappeared, murdered, or worked to death. The typical black male didn't survive past, the average typical black male didn't survive past 30 up until the 1940s. Literally for a century and a half, you were literally worked to death. First by the slave master, and then by the sharecropper, the landowner, and then by your woman. You worked to death. Even today, most black men disappear. You still have the lowest average lifespan of all the groups. Still, I think the only thing lower is the Native American who drinks himself to death. I think he's the only group lower than you, and they pretty much disappeared. So I felt this way for a long time, and when he talked about what his vision of the black community was, and knowing that I know it's not going to work, grandma and grandpa was in a different environment. There were sharecroppers, they were rural, and it was necessary for the family to survive for them to stay together. Even then, even though they didn't get divorced, they had walking divorces, right? The typical black female had kids by more than one man. I know my grandmother did. My grandmother had 9 kids by 4 different men. And that's very typical. Very typical. So what our perceived idea of what the black community used to be is really not that. It's really not that. Anyhow, what prompted me to do it today and finally get off the slide and actually talk about this is listening to Dr. Umar Johnson's daughter talk about his parenting or lack of, because he's a absent father, right? Call him a deadbeat, all that kind of stuff. And had she been more forthcoming and nicer about it, I may have said that we have a chance. In other words, if we put our efforts into these kids, the black community can be saved, because the black women are actually starting to change. And what I heard come out of her mouth, which is, she's not the only one, because I've heard women of most, or if not all, generations speak the same thing, is that they're not changing. They're not going to change. They're still the same people. This is a 22-year-old Gen Z woman. And this is, 150 years after emancipation, 60 years after civil rights, and they have not changed. They still talk vilely toward black men. They talk to you with disrespect. They're quoting the same things they've been quoting since the 1940s, as far as back as I can see it. The same stuff, the same sentiment, the same everything. The only thing that's changed is the date. What I'm saying is, if you want this community to limp along the way it has done for the past 200 years, by all means, join in and try to patch it up and try to keep this wreck of a culture going, because they don't want it fixed. They do not want it fixed. Black women do not want to fix. Black women do not want to read to their children 30 minutes a day just to improve the outcome of the race, or the outcome of our people. They still want to hamper the black boys and the black men. They still do. They want to hamstring them. They still do. That's even the videos I played about being married to black women. You can hear it come out of their mouths. They still compete with their men. There's a power struggle. There's not a cooperative nature about the outcome of the family and the outcome of the kids. There's no cooperation. The results we get are the same results that we have been getting for the past 150 years. Even when the government tries to step in and do something, your black women do not like change. Your black woman would rather be queen of the ashes than for the black community to move forward. South Korea itself, in 60 years from the time of what we call civil rights, really not civil rights, in the past 50 years, from 1970 to 2025, has gone from a farming community dragging oxen to a superpower an economic superpower on the planet in 50 years. An economic superpower in 50 years. The outcome of black people has only gotten worse in 50 years. If black women were the answer, they put black women in the driver's seat in 1965. They put black women in the driver's seat in 1965. The government intentionally suppressed the men and gave the women more jobs and more education, yada, yada, yada. Black women have been snapping their fingers and slapping their behinds for the past 60 years. And guess what? The outcomes of the black community has gotten worse. It's gotten worse. And before, black men had no choice. You couldn't date anybody. You could not date anybody outside the race because the government and other men came down on you like an avenging angel for you dating out. They solidly force you to stay with your black woman no matter what. That's why I played the video about Alvin Toussaint after Loving versus Virginia when they allowed interracial marriage and black men started to separate, started to delve out and marry other women. And what he said, black women were getting upset about it. That's why he asked, are black women more concerned about racism or controlling black men? We know the answer to that now. It's about controlling black men. It's my brother's keeper. Black women should have gotten on board, hands down, and said, whatever we need to do to keep this going, we're willing to open up our pocketbooks so that these black boys will have a chance and they can help pull us forward. What did they try to do? They killed it. They killed it. Well, it's always, what about the girls? It's not like these are not your boys. It's not like these are not your boys. You act like black boys cannot get help. Like your black men that are homeless cannot get help. When is the last time you heard black women get on social media and talk about the black male homeless? Or the number of black males going to prison? The only time they talk about black males going to prison is the problem is they don't have mates. They could care less what happens to black men inside their prison. In fact, a lot of reason they're there is because of them. What did black women do? Do they discourage black men being drug dealers and scammers? No. They applaud you doing illegal activity. Because guess what? They're going to benefit from it, and they don't have to do the time. You look on the dating apps. Even amongst black women, you're at the bottom of the list as far as being a preference. Almost. I think Asian men are probably below you. What are we holding together? I mean, I think black men are tired of becoming a backup plan. And even the men that they don't want or say they don't want, try to go overseas and find some kind of happiness, they want to block that too. And then when you don't come back, then they want to follow you overseas. You can't even get away from them. And my thing is, it's always these people crying about the black men trying to save the black community. That we have to be something special to change them. But they're the one in therapy. They're the one that's educated. They're the ones that have raised their standards and raised their level. And they keep doing the same crap. Now, I have no love for Dr. Umar pandering to black women. If you're on social media and you want to be an influencer, sooner or later somebody going to come for you. Sooner or later somebody going to come for you and air out your dirty laundry. If you are not walking the walk like you're talking the talk, somebody's going to come for you. They came for him. His daughter came for him, which I already knew. He's cashing in on the black male accountability talking points, okay, to women. In other words, hold them accountable. And it's not your fault, queen, and yada, yada, yada. He's cashing in. I know. I said that from the very beginning. Him and Boyce Watkins are cashing in. You got no problem with that. Man, make your money. You don't really come over to the black manosphere and really mess with us for the most part. I think the most he talked about was Kevin. But Kevin had been out of the so-called manosphere officially for a couple of years. I had no issue with that. I have no issue with his dirty laundry coming back up. It did. The thing is the way she put it and the vileness, the way she put it. And I've heard that kind of vileness before. I've heard it all my life. How black women see black men and the name calling. Even though he paid child support, that wasn't good enough. But you didn't have words for your mama. Your mama's a saint, but your daddy's a no good Negro. And it was just her. If she was just an isolated case, I'd have no issue with it. But she's not. In fact, the women that are speaking life into black men are isolated. I mean, you go through social media from the top to the bottom. From the top to the bottom. You have to cherry pick women out that actually talk life into black men. They all sound the same. I don't care what class they're in. There's a video I'm probably going to do later, that Dr. Neal sent me about a couple of white people reviewing Michelle Obama, talking about Barack Obama. How does two white people, right-wing white people, Republicans, have more deference for Barack Obama than his own wife? They have more respect and deference for a black president than his own wife. We're going to get to that. That's for another video. Never mind cats that are pookies. Never mind cats that are criminals. Never mind cats that have gone to prison. Never mind that. Never mind the Nick Cannons and the Futures and other people that have slept around and got baby mamas all over the place. Never mind that. Never mind the dusty dudes. Never mind the guys that are poor. Never mind that. They always tell us that to get respect, you have to be a top-notch dude. And I say bunk. Why do I say bunk? Is because you can't get any higher as far as status than Barack Obama. Now, is he a billionaire? No. But he's wealthy. Just himself is worth almost $100 million. Nothing to sneeze at. One of the most powerful men on the freaking planet. Can't get any higher than that. And why does a white woman who's a Republican that normally would be his opposition have more respect for that man than his own wife, his own black wife? And she didn't just start talking smack about Barack Obama. She's been doing that. She was doing that when she was campaigning for him. She was doing sneak disses back then. And the white women are complaining about it back then. I said, you have a black man running for president or getting ready to be president. You can't be sneak dissing him like that. You got to act like a first lady. And not only did she sneak diss him, all the black women ha and kikied about it, even though they loved him. But this is who they are. This is who the community is. They have no respect for black men. What does it say? The black men have no rights that a white man's bound to respect. Black men have no status that black women are bound to respect. That's why I did a video about him, called him Dusty in Chief. Dusty in Chief. Because no matter how high you are, no matter how accomplished you are, to black women, you're still dusty. And how can you build a viable community of women that don't respect you? That don't respect you. If black women are so kick butt and go-getters like that, how come they haven't built the businesses? How come they haven't built the institutions? God knows they have the education, according to them. And when you go look at the stats, they really don't. According to them, they're the queens of the movements. They're the queens of the planet. They're the most accomplished women on the planet, according to them. I guess it's easy for them to be that way if they're stepping on your back. And black men understand that the white man's going to have his foot on his neck. He's our natural competitor. Your woman is not supposed to have her foot on your neck. Your woman, if that man is out there in the spotlight, having a presence, making, whether you like him or not, making a difference as a matter of respect, which Umar is, which definitely Barack Obama is. The last person, whether you like him or not, should be talking smack about him is his family. And what came out of that young lady's mouth about Dr. Umar, and I'm no fan of what Dr. Umar does on social media. You know I'm no fan of it. I don't care if your father is a freaking criminal on death row. You have no right to talk about your father like that. That is not your place. Dr. Umar is far from this dusty dude that hasn't accomplished anything. Unfortunately, that's the way most black women feel about us. Can't tell you how many dudes that are accomplished, make damn good money, that have damn good careers, in the background tell me about the disrespect they get from their wives, that they get from their women. So saying that if you are an accomplished patriarch that you're going to get respect from your woman ain't true. Which is why black men see that, black men are going the other way. My son did. And my son loves his mother, loves his mother to death. But he wasn't going to marry anybody like her. He wasn't going to marry anybody like his sisters. He was not. How can you save a community that does that? How can you save a community when one half won't cooperate and then the other half is disrespected by not only the society, but by his own woman? How can a damaged group of people that are constantly under threat and under stress save a community? How are they going to do that? To me, it's done. I said that a long time ago. So basically, you always keep that little bit of what they call white pill, as they call it, hope, like in the Matrix, hope, belief, maybe. Maybe that's in the movies. Maybe that is for a fairy tale. Because in the real world, it doesn't work that way. And with what the United States is getting ready to go through, it doesn't look good. Maybe at the last second, before the bus goes over the cliff, black women will turn this around and start working for the betterment of the community instead of for their own comfort and their own aggrandizement. Because that's what they're doing. It's about their clout. It's about how they feel about themselves. And they try to project that onto the community and onto their men. That's what they're doing. All that sign language is basically a projection because how they feel about themselves. Michelle Obama is projecting on to Barack how she feels about herself. Barack, regardless of what you say about him, brilliant dude. He did something that nobody thought could be done. Did he have to have a bunch of luck to get there? Yes. But he pulled it off. And instead of his wife worshiping the ground that he walks on, she disses him. And that is the state of the black community. That's the black woman, queen of the ashes. She's mad that the reason that people know about her, the reason that she has fame is because of him. Anyhow, that's all I got for this one. I'm going to stop before it really turns into a rant. And it's already to the point where I say too many ugly things about black women and the black community. So I'm going to cut it off here before YouTube comes after me. So with that, folks, I'm going to jump off here. This is BGS out, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.